Hello, friends. This is John Klein III with episode 187 of Shadow and Flame with Magic, the premier Kitty Pride, Lockheed, and Magic podcast. Thank you so much for coming. We are going to deep dive into Fantastic Four versus X-Men number 4 and then review the comics of last week. Not too many came out. Personally, Walker D and me went to Con 2025. We just went for the Sunday day and it was pretty fun. We participated in an Iron Noodle contest. Apparently you were supposed to register earlier, but we didn't, but there was a couple people who didn't show up, so we got to participate. So that was pretty fun. The noodles were very hot still, as in freshly boiled hot shrimp flavored, but we did not make it. But pretty fun convention here in Helena, Montana. I met comic artist Tess Langston, who does the Coffee Ghost Adventures book. That was very fun. She also did a cute little sketch for me, which if you're one of our YouTube viewers, I'm showing off right now. But if not, it's a very cute book. Tess Langston, Langston. She's a artist out of Missoula, so that was pretty great. San Diego Comic Con's going on this week, and the X-Men panel revealed the second issue covers for Age of Revelations, and I had to update my mental list of comics I want to get as I want to get Amazing X-Men 1 because Magic is in issue 2, and then the Ghost of Philadelphia in the Book of Revelations to me looks a lot like Kitty Pryde. So hopefully by the time the DCBS order form comes out, which will be in a week or two, I can make a decision ideally. But it sure looks like Kitty Pryde, but in her permanent phase mode, as seen in Fantastic Four versus X-Men, which we're going to review. So, I mean, it just these things work out. We are going to watch the Fantastic Four movie Wednesday night. So, ideally, will remain spoiler free. I did turn on Fortnite, and if I want to get Sue Richards and only her and her gear for 600 more, you can get the entire Fantastic Four bundle, which I'm sure is done on purpose, just like the Ninja Turtles. But the Ninja Turtles, I still got Leonardo and felt very happy with my whole loadout. So, um, I'm now trying to remember what my glider is in that game. I don't think they've done the Turtle Blimp glider yet, so I guess I'm waiting for that. So let's get into and the Ultimate Universe is having their Ultimate End storyline was the other thing. I made Ultimate Spider-Man's ending for sure at issue 25, and all the Ultimate titles are going to be affected. I'm only buying Ultimate Wolverine, and so I'll see how involved he and Ultimate Sprite is in the main event and go from there. I probably treat it like Godzilla and Predator miniseries, where if they put Sprite on the cover, I'll get it or Magic. And though I don't own every Magic appearance apparently, so I'm very committed to Ultimate Sprite. And and Ultimate One War Under Doom event is coming to an end in November. And one of the covers has all the magical, or the bulk of the magical characters all wearing the Doctor Strange cloak of levitation. I don't know, does it have a proper name? I know it's the Eye of Armagogo. I'm not a Doctor Strange guy, but Magic's one of those, so I'll probably scoop up that cover. As I'm mostly trying to keep my collection purely Lockheed, but and Kitty Pride and Magic's just way too popular now, where I can't keep up with it. But if I can, I will. But because I know there's a One War Under Doom issue she's in for a panel that I don't know if I added to my League of Comic Book Geeks wish list or not, but I should. There was no comics at Okisoki or Okisoricon, which apparently translates to Big Sky Con. So, and as Montana's the Big Sky State, that's where they get their name from. Which I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. But I know like Kelly's Comics in Great Falls had a booth there in previous years, and maybe he wasn't there, but I didn't see any empty booths, so I'm like, all right. And we met Sungwon Cho, who does one of the voice of Amy, one of the guys from oh, K-pop Demon Hunters, the boy with the pink hair. He does the speaking voice. He does a couple Pokemon characters like Delibird, and that was pretty great to meet him. Got a picture taken of him, and um, yeah, so pretty great uh conventions. Forget what made me transition to that, but to let's get into Fantastic Four versus X-Men #4, which you can follow along on my TikTok and YouTube channels at Jackal SIII. And let's get into this. It came out in June of 1987. Would it cost you 150 pennies or 200 cans? Opens up with Kitty Pryde singing the song from the one where she's on the hill, not the hill with silence. Um, the Sound of Music, and kids my age aren't supposed to think about death. The world for us is supposed to be full of promise and infinite possibilities. Here I am, one step away from the great beyond. I'm Catherine Pride. Though pretty near everyone calls me Kitty. I have another name, Shadowcat. That's because I'm a mutant born with parahuman abilities to phase my body through solid objects. Trouble is that power's out of control, turning me into a living ghost. By tomorrow, I figure I'll be gone. And the writers Chris Claremont, penciler John Bogdanove, inker Terry Austin, colorist Glennis Oliver, Tom Berchowski is the letterer, editor is Ann Nocenti, and editor in chief is Jim Shooter. And my only hope is salvation is Doctor Doom, maybe the most infamous villain on Earth. To save me, my best pals, my teammates, the X-Men, are going to put themselves in his debt. We're the good guys. People call us superheroes. Our job putting creeps like Doom out of business. Not turning to him for help. She checks on Lockheed, who's very sad. It's like, oh, Lockheed. And he can't hear her because she's pretty much, she's phasing, so she doesn't have any physical, um, able to like voice her, voice. And you see Franklin, materialize in front of him. Imagine looking through a rainy window with water leashing down the glass. There's an image on the other side, rippled at first beyond recognition. Then the storm subsides, the glass clears, the figure gradually comes into focus. That's how Franklin Richards makes an entrance. He isn't really here. This is an astral projection. But Lockheed checks him out anyway. It's very cute how Lockheed is. He literally walks up, sniffs him, takes a look at us, very Looney Tunes, and then gives Franklin a big old slurp. I love that little critter. As I do too. And when I promote this on the podcast of socials, this is probably one of the four images I choose. I don't know, S&FwM. And so Franklin's trying to cheer Kitty up. In the previous issue, Reed showed him a cute little elephant story using his stretchy powers to act it all out. And then Franklin's trying to do it with his little kid fingers. It's very cute. Elsewhere, arcing high above the curve of the Earth, the Fantastic Four's hyperspace plane races headlong from the sunlight to the shadow, leaving day in New York fast behind. And Suze is contemplating so much as they fly back, or fly to Lavaria. Grim gives her a cup of coffee that has the four insignia on it, which is pretty fun. He turns a couple tools and tries to turn them into a sculpture just to, lively the mood. Further forward in the row, shared by She Hulk and the Human Torch, and she's having her thoughts. Johnny's feeling bad for burning Storm, as he should. Then they go into their origins. Johnny does the She-Hulk, which I'm sure she's like, yeah, I got it. And lastly, alone on the flight deck, the founder and leader of the Fantastic Four, who's still haunted by this journal that he doesn't remember writing, but very much puts him in a negative light of his motivations for taking his family and best friend to space in hopes that they would gain powers and notoriety. Fairy tale princess in her fairy tale tower in this fairy tale land that Doom rules Latveria. I hope the story has a happy ending. Wouldn't bet on it though. The setting is pretty much as picture postcard if you don't notice the Doom robot goons. Their standard procedure is to shoot first, ask questions later, but Doom reprogrammed them to leave the X-Men alone, provided we behave ourselves. It's a lonely, lovely night. I give anything to be out romping through it with my pals. In my mind's eye, I can picture Wolverine, the quintessential hunter with the senses keener than any animal. He has unbreakable bones and adamantium claws, which will cut through anything that extend from bionic housing is implanted in his forearms. You see Havoc and Dazzler are having a fun moment as they are shooting um, the clay pigeons. Yeah, so they're just working out essentially on the grounds. Havoc unleashes a cosmic ray powered focused plasma blast, while Dazzler, who metabolically transduces sound into light, fires a pinpoint solid photon of beam. And clearly she's doing better than he is because one's precision, one's blunt force. And usually precision works, but blunt force, no, it's why the old versus young debate's always a popular one. And Rogue shows up. No one's happy about this situation. Franklin and Kitty are still chatting as Psylocke walks in, the team's new telepath. And Dr. Doom spooks Betsy with his cold metal hands on her shoulders. And he's ready to start. I'm scared. I want to go home. If only someone could just hold my hand. Even our new teach, Magneto, but he doesn't care. And Magneto is upset at all the drones and starts smashing them. There's a squawk screech from outside. Magneto grabs one of the Doom's robots and uses a fantastic magnetic powers to reshape it armored body as easy as it was made of clay. And he turns into a statue of his beloved wife and his first child, Magna. And then Doom like holographs his face like the size of the moon and goes like, "How dare you destroy my property and doing all this? Like, no more using your powers like this." And then immediately the Fantastic Four show up and Magneto shuts the plane down because he's concerned that once Doom sees Reed's there, they're not going to move forward. And Doom's trying to bring Kitty Pryde back, but Magneto's powers are causing all the computers to run haywire, and it's either cure Kitty or defend Latveria, and he's not really willing to risk any, the alternative. Meanwhile, outside, the Fantastic Four come out. Human Torch is happy to see Storm, but not happy to see Magneto. Mostly from the recent events of X-Men Annual 5, which that one's not coming to my mind too much. I know 10, oh no, Avengers 10 has been Rogue attacks the Avengers. So everyone starts fighting. Uh, Rogue fastballs Wolverine to the thing. Rogue grabs Johnny by his ankles. And Ben bonks Wolverine on the head, which knocks him out, which is fun. Dazzler wearing a Wyatt Cheney jacket is coming, which is fun as she's gonna later be part of the band of hers. Havoc drives up in a Jeep and along with Long Shot. She-Hulk's about to throw a giant rock, but Dazzler blasts it. Sue puts Rogue in a invisible bubble and Rogue's naked for some reason. Did I miss why that is? No, it's just all of a sudden she's nude. And probably because it's a Chris Claremont comic. And and then She-Hulk wants to fight Storm, but she's depowered. But then as soon as she lifts her up by her collar, The world goes skaboom, and so now she's worried about that. Magneto's about to crash their jet when all of a sudden Franklin and Lockheed, who probably another panel I'm definitely going to use, show up to tell them all to start behaving, not like the children that they are pretending to be, but the adults that they actually are. And so they start all coming back to the castle. Psylocke's holding the chamber with Kitty in it, even though I imagine it's unnecessary for her to physically be holding the chamber, but her thoughts are containing Kitty's psyche. You notices Reed's carrying the journal and looking upset, and he hints that, oh yeah, that scheme I put into place years ago is finally going to come into effect. That's great. And then Doom's working away. It's neat watching Mr. Fantastic's body stretch like silly putty, even though what he's doing makes me scream and cry inside. I don't care about his reasons. All I know is that he's killed me. As he recognizes one of Doom's math is wrong. And so they're yelling at each other, and then Franklin has to show up and put his hands up like, hey, you guys gotta work together. Which if it was his younger sister, Val, Doom would have just gone immediately, but he needs to hear Franklin argue the case. And he reads confident in his math, but then he's not that confident. And Psylocke, and so there's a big debate about if Psylocke can just read Reed's mind to see if his journal is his or not. But to do so, she had to lighten her grip on Kitty, who's already like screaming silently. And um and then of course, if he needs Psylocke to tell him to be confident, is he really confident? So he's very conflicted. Then he realizes that no, he's in his right mind. The next hours, thankfully, are a big blur. Next thing I know, it's night, and I can hear the sounds of laughter, see flashes of light through the windows thrown off by Dazzler. Gladbed is dancing up a storm, which I was there. Heck, I'm glad to still be here. Why push my luck? I'm alive, far out. It is weird we don't get a panel where it's just like, oh yeah, he just got it done. So Storm's talking to Reed. Sue is not happy with Doctor Doom. She-Hulk and Grimm are hanging out. Magneto and Reed shake hands. Storm threatens, or Sue Storm Richards threatens Doom, but he's just enjoying some caviar, so whatever. The Fantastic Four are all on the couch, couch. What's most important is faith and trust and love. Franklin's body in Dreamland, so his astral self can come visiting, which is weird as he's sleeping on the couch. So he came to Latveria, and so he can hang out with Kitty if he wanted to, but for whatever reason, he's visiting her in astral form. But I guess if he's able to have his body rest, it's probably okay. I'll be out of this tube someday, Franklin. Maybe then we can hold hands for real. I like that. Downstairs, they're playing a waltz, my favorite. I lead, he learns fast, way to go. Maybe it's okay. I could visit from time to time, this way when I'm asleep. I like that too. Our nightmare is over. Our dream has just begun. The end. Back cover ads for laser tag, which was pretty fun. Um, I know we had a set, but I want to say we barely used it. Or at least we didn't use it for laser tag. We used it for mostly, just as a fancy gun to shoot each other with. So, spoilers for the other comics that came out last week. We're just gonna run through this real fast. There's Doom's Division 5, which barely had Karma in it, but that's true for all these issues. Sunspot gets rescued. Turns out White Wolf or White Fox was a triple agent. And they all decide to, of course, stop supporting Doom immediately. And Karma and Luna Snow have a little flirtation, which I've been able to avoid Luna Snow this whole time, so I probably should look into her to see what's going on. Emma Frost, the White Queen 2, the retro series, she is trying to figure out who the mole is. And if you're a longtime X-Men fan, we know the mole is actually Tessa. So then it makes my mind start wondering, well, how is this going to end? And I'm wondering if it's going to end with Emma knowing for a while that Tessa is the mole, but they're going to frame a third party, like someone we never find out who it is. Except for in the present day, they come back and they're going to wreak havoc for Emma, but why did they wait 20 years? I'm not sure. But it'd be nice if then Emma makes Tessa's life easier in the Hellfire Club for the remaining months or whatever. So that was pretty good. I'm putting a lot of thought into it to make it even better, but I could be wrong in that. But I bet that's how the series is going. We are introduced to a bunch of new mutants, but not new mutants, like lowercase. It always makes me wonder whenever we see retro series introduce new mutants of like, well, what happened to these mutants? Did they get depowered during the decimation? Were they on Genosha? Were they brought back for Krakoa? Are they in the White Hot Room now? Like, where are these? And where are we supposed to just assume they are? I'm not sure. Maybe they're just in this country where we left them and they've just been biding their time and just living. Psylocke 9, she's meeting her friend, Miyusku, I think it is, or Miyusa. And turns out she's not as villainy as we think she is, but then it turns out she does want to kill Hydra, so still like bad intentions, but or good intentions, but gonna do them in a bad way. But then she turns Psylocke into white Psylocke, which is awkward. But in that has white hair and an all white outfit, but I think she's still facially, canon. It's a little dicey. And this was the penultimate issue, so we have to see what happens in the final issue. As almost all these are ending so that Age of Revelation can happen. She is going to be an amazing X-Men as well with magic, so that's nice. And then Uncanny X-Men 18, which will probably be my book of the week. It is Mutant Friendship Day, and Nightcrawler hangs out with Mackenzie, who got the mayor to agree to do Friendship Festival. And all the X-Men show up in their costumes, which is great. They act like celebrities. People are happy to see them. It's probably the first time in quite a few issues where everyone is in their costumes, so that's interesting. I'm trying to think what else is going on. Calico is sleep sleepwalking, and that's unfortunate. Gambit's been tracking it since that horror movie of the last issue, and so he guides her to Rogue in his bedroom so she can sleep with Rogue for a while. Which of all the X-Men's beds, you probably do not want to go inside Gambit and Rogue's bed. Like, what do they do in there? It's a marital bed. But then they go to the festival. Rachel and Cable are there in the background, which is very cute. There's one of those cutouts you can do pictures of where you put your face in. But the picture we see, or the poster we see, is the Cyclops and Jean on the moon, which is like, who took that picture? Like, who told someone, hey, at one point, Jean and Scott were on the moon? That'd be a cute idea. Jeans in a cute green dress. Like, yeah, put the their faces out and just make it a stand for people to stand behind. And it's like, all right. The guy from Gambit solo of issue, one of his like original father figures shows up and sends the X-Men off to do a mission. And that's where we're gonna pick up next issue. But yeah, pretty cute issue. Good art. Hmm. I'm gonna say that's most of the plot. Like it was just a lot of good visual elements. And yeah, that was Uncanny 18. And then next week on Wednesday, we have Giant Size X-Men #2, which has Lockheed on the cover, which he was on the cover for House of M, Giant Size House of M, but wasn't in the issue, but sure. And then it's Spider-Man Volume 3 and Savage Wolverine 1. So now the previous Savage Wolverine 12 and 13 should be considered Volume 1, 12 and 13, but sure. And so Giant Size X-Men 2 is going to be my book of the week. And I do not think we're doing anything special for August. I'm not sure what's the next event month we have. So I want to start chipping away at my back issues. So I think every episode for a while we're going to do a retro issue just for the funds. And everyone, that was episode 167 of Shadow and Flame of Magic. So thank you so much for watching or listening. And I will post some images on S&FwM socials, and you can follow me at Jacko SIII. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and I will talk at you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.